Rise from Ruin by Melissa Olthoff. Just finished it, loved it. It is book 1 of the Griffin Core series from Baen. It will be out June 3rd. At this time, it is available for pre-order from every major place. You could also go to the Baen website and buy the e-arc if this gives you Griffin fever and you just need it right now. I've read the back of the book previously, so I'm not going to spend a ton of time on that one. Harper is our main character. She's really awesome. She's a little dense on some things, and that's okay because I think honestly in real life, most of us are a little dense on some of those same things. There is a very small romance subplot within the book in it, and I mean it's a romance slow burn subplot that is very adorable, very easy to spot if you're not named Harper. If you're named Harper and you're in the series, well, you know, I'm that dense too, so I'm not going to cast. When you read it, you'll know. If one of the things you loved about Mercedes Lackey's Heralds of Valdemar was the bonded animal trope, if you liked that about Fourth Wing, you have that here. We have dragons that are bonded to their riders. We have griffins who are bonded to their riders. It's a lifelong bond. You kill one, you kill the other. That is a different trope from like Fourth Wing. When our character dies, their bonded dies. They don't live. It is a low magic setting world, and it's set in a world where these kids know that they're in a war. As soon as they're done, they could go to the front lines, and they have all those experiences. So that is, I think, honestly, Melissa pulling from experience because she does that in a beautiful way in this series. Melissa is an Air Force veteran. She was an officer. She served during a time of war where going to school, you knew you could potentially have to serve and go to the front lines immediately after. With that being said, there is no plot armor. So if you get attached to somebody, it could end. So no plot armor. I love that she pulls in that same squad dynamic. If you saw that in Fourth Wing and you loved it, of you have these people and they're your friends, they're your ride or dies. They go with you through everything. And I loved that aspect. It's definitely a theme that she carries throughout the book, and as well as found family. I think it's even more special because in the case of Harper, where she's been training all of her life to be a dragon rider, and she ends up paired with a griffin, she ends up having to leave her found family in the dragon rider cadets and go join the griffins, and they're not necessarily as warm and welcoming as you would think, especially if you're used to being in a hyper competitive environment and being the top of the, and all of a sudden she doesn't have the right skill sets, and some things carry over, some things really don't. So I think it's a really great, I think there's a lot of things that we as adults look back and go, yeah, I had to deal with some of this. You do see some of the Griffin and Dragon Rider rivalry, and she kind of gets caught in the middle of that, especially because she essentially is reclassed and through no fault of her own. So if you liked Fourth Wing and you didn't want to deal with the romance, this is a great, I think, follow-on for you. If you liked the Deed of Pachysandria, Sheep Farmer's Daughter, and that trilogy by Elizabeth Moon, I think you'll love this. It is low magic. And there's some really neat things about the world and the world building that she's doing, about the locations and stuff, that I'm not going to get into too much because I don't want to give anything away. I would say that this is a great book if you are in your late teens or you have a late teen to hand to them and read and discuss with them. I don't think if you don't read it, it's going to cause any problems, but I'm old school and my mom read every book I read. She's a much faster reader. So any of the adult content, like spicy stuff, is off the page if it at all happens. And she does at one point have an adult relationship, and they are adults about it. And that is a beautiful thing to see role modeled for kids in a book. And by adults about it, I mean, they are all in the military and they all have to deal with it, and you have to go to work with the people that, you know, your dating pool when you're in college is this big. And when you're on a military installation with no civilians nearby, this big. So they do talk about that a little bit. Now, she doesn't get into like the nitty gritties, obviously. I said zero spice because there is zero. I think the character building is great. I love how she does the Griffins. They have a very unique vibe separate from the vibe of the dragons. So, they talk, they interact with their writers differently. These dragons are not, having said this, if you've read Fourth Wing, where you're used to the grumpy dragon that's going to jump out and like kill a cadet just because, well, I don't know, they were chewing too loudly. We don't have those dragons here. They're actually kind of cute because they start itsy bitsy and eggs and move up. And so do the Griffin. This is kind of book 2 and what I think some of the Baen authors have been joking as their feral fantasy. So the first one was Mage Light by Casey Azell. I'm going backwards and reading that now. And I will definitely say that I'm all for the Griffin Corps. More please. I have actually messaged Melissa twice, including one time going, I haven't finished it yet, but I'm ready for my second. So let me know what you think. Let me know if you think this video was just too long and too detailed. I don't know. I'm going to put a picture up of the cover so that you can see it. It's gorgeous. Once again, Rise from Ruin by Melissa Olthoff. This is her first traditionally published book, and it's out from Baen in all the major places where you can find a book, and probably even some of your local stores. If you've read it, let me know what you think of it, because I really enjoyed it and game for discussing it with some of the fellow people who've read it, so I don't have to worry about spoilers.